Hello there everyone, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I am going to talk about Avengers Doomsday. This is an upcoming American superhero film based on the Marvel Comics superhero team, the Avengers. Obviously, this film is the most anticipated film of 2026. This will release in December. Obviously, as many of you know, I'm also a huge Doctor Who fan, so by that time the new Doctor Who Christmas special will also be available to watch. So that's pretty flippin' cool, right? Avengers Doomsday and Doctor Who, the Christmas special starring David Tennant. Yeah, I'm excited. Anyhow, it is produced by Marvel Studios and Agbo and distributed by Walt Disney Studios Motion Pictures. The Agbo studio is obviously founded by Anthony and Joe Russo, so there we go. It is intended to be the 5th installment in the Avengers film series following Avengers Endgame, and the 39th film in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, the MCU. Directed by Anthony and Joe Russo, and written by Michael Waldron and Stephen McFeely. The film features an ensemble cast of, obviously, including Chris Hemsworth, Vanessa Kirby, Anthony Mackie, Sebastian Stan, Leticia Wright, Paul Rudd, Wyatt Russell, Tanak Huerta Miji, I think, who plays Namor, Eben Mos Bachrach, who plays The Thing, Simu Liu, obviously Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh, Kelsey Grammer, Louis Pullman, Danny Ramirez, Joseph Quinn, David Harbour, Winston Duke, Hannah John Kamen, who plays Ghost, I believe, yeah. Tom Hiddleston, Patrick Stewart, Ian McKellen, Alan Cumming, Rebecca Romaine, I think. I think she reprises her role as Mystique. There we go. James Marsden, right, as Cyclops. Channing Tatum, Pedro Pascal, and Robert Downey Jr. In the film, the Avengers, Wakandans, Fantastic Four, New Avengers, and the X-Men team up to face Doctor Doom, who is played by, obviously, RDJ, Robert Downey Jr. So, the thing is, obviously, there have been trailers or teasers revealed, and obviously, I really want to talk about the film because all the teasers or trailers have been released so far. Obviously, 4 of them have been revealed. Obviously, the one with Chris Evans as Captain America, who returns in this film. We have the one with Thor and his, obviously, daughter, which is called Love, I believe. So there we go, who obviously returned or continued his story from the Thor Love and Thunder film. You can say whatever you want about that film, but anyway, he's back. That's great. Thor is a great character. And Chris Hemsworth is the only Avenger still alive from the original 6, right? I think so. Yeah. And obviously Hawkeye too, but whatever he's doing somewhere in New York, I'm not quite sure. So, I also had the 3rd trailer, which had the X-Men, obviously Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen as Magneto, and James Marsden and Cyclops as Cyclops, obviously too. We obviously have the 4th one and the last one, which had the Wakandians, the Atlanteans, right, with Namor or Namor. And obviously we also had Leticia Wright as Shuri, aka the Black Panther, and M'Baku as the King of Wakanda. So there we go. Obviously the 2 new Avengers films, the Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars, were announced in July 2022 as the conclusion of the MCU's Phase 6 and the Multiverse saga. Destin Daniel Cretton was hired to direct again Kang Dynasty, and Jonathan Majors was set to reprise his MCU role as the villain Kang the Conqueror. But obviously, Jeff Loveness joined the film as the writer that September. In November 2023, Creighton departed. Walden replaced Loveness as writer, and Marvel was considering moving away from the Kang storyline, in part due to Majors' legal issues, obviously. Majors was fired the following month. The return of the Russo brothers as directors, as McFeely as co-writer, the casting of Downey as the new villain Doctor Doom, and the new subtitle Doomsday were all announced in July 2024. Filming began in April 2025 at Pinewood Studios in England, with a large cast consisting mainly of actors from previous MCU media and 20th Century's Fox X-Men film series. And wrapped in September, obviously. Location filming took place in England and Bahrain. I think that's a country somewhere in... Yeah, the official kingdom of Bahrain is an island country of West Asia. So there we go, interesting. Avengers Doomsday is scheduled to be released in the United States on the 18th of December 2026 as part of Phase 6 of the MCU. The film sequel, Secret Wars, is set to be released on September the 17th, 2027. Obviously, the premise goes as follows, right? 14 months after the events of the Thunderbolts, obviously the Avengers, Wakandians, Fantastic Four, New Avengers, and the original X-Men team up to face Doctor Doom. Obviously we can see this because in the Thunderbolts we have the Fantastic Four obviously arriving at Earth, so I'm not quite sure what they're doing there. Obviously we also had Monica Rambeau, who ended up in the X-Men universe, so there we go. That is really interesting. There are a couple of other post-credit scenes, like obviously the leader from the Captain America Brave New World film knew about like incursions, which is interesting. Incursions were first revealed, or I guess talked about in Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. So yes, all of these things are going to connect in a way. I'm not quite sure how they're going to do that, because some of these things are just I guess it's a complicated web of wires, or like I don't know how to describe this, but every character has to do something in this film, right? Every group, every team needs to do something. It's a big, bold film, right? And obviously, Avengers Doomsday, I think it will top the charts of the box office. And yeah, I'm really, really excited. Obviously, we also need to talk about Chair Watch, right? That in March 2025, it obviously was revealed that a 5.5 hour long live stream showing a line of directors' chairs with cast members' names on them. That's when the hype of Avengers Doomsday, started, I guess, or at least the marketing for that film, because the film is going to be huge, and it's good that they have like little teasers now and little trailers to hype up the people, and I think that's really interesting. But you know, the same day that Avengers Doomsday will release, Dune Part 3 is also going to release. So Doomsday is a thing, right? And it's going to be really, really interesting to see what they'll do, right? Obviously, we also have the Doomsday Clock, which I think is a brilliant way to obviously get the people hyped too, because the Doomsday Clock, if you don't know, a Doomsday Clock is always very significant to a certain story or a certain thing, right? For example, in Stranger Things, we also had that clock, and it was also part of the story. So the Doomsday Clock maybe, be part of the story, but we just need to wait and see how that turns out, right? So all 4 teasers were leaked ahead of their official releases, but the thing was, I think some Marvel members, leaked those things. I'm not quite sure. It's too obvious, right? It's from, in my opinion, it's too obvious that these trailers were all leaked in advance. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, yeah, sure, you can do that, but you can also release them online, right? But that's because obviously the hype for the film needs to be there, and I think that's kind of interesting. So after the 4 teasers were released, the Russo brothers said they were not calling them teasers or trailers, and instead described them as stories and clues. So Screen Rant speculated that each teaser was made to set up the film's key character groups and storylines, and were not using actual footage from the film. I think that they did, obviously, perfectly fine, because with Captain America, you could have used his teaser with like a post-credit scene to Endgame. That would have made sense, right? But obviously the Thor one, complicated, right? Obviously Chris Hemsworth and his daughter, his real-life daughter and his fictional daughter, you could have, recorded that after Thor Love and Thunder. But obviously, I'm not quite sure. Like, obviously the X-Men one and the one with the Wakandans and the Fantastic Four, they're also, part of the film, right? And you can clearly see that in the fourth teaser, obviously with the Fantastic Four and obviously the Wakandans, you can see that some characters were blurred out or, erased from that teaser.
Erased from existence.
I mean, because it doesn't make sense that the Thing is the only character that will be introduced in Wakanda, right? So, anyway, they're going to do a little Infinity War thing here, obviously with that trailer being a disguise for, like, other characters. Like, obviously, the Hulk wasn't in Infinity War, he was, like, gone or whatever. But anyhow, so, the thing is, with this brand new film, a couple of people have been speculating that Robert Downey Jr.'s casting as Doctor Doom is just a minor, I would say, convenience, right? Obviously, RDJ is well known for playing Iron Man, but obviously, thanks to a clip of the John Campea show, which I listened to and watched, he said that it's not necessary to reveal himself or reveal, RDJ as Doctor Doom, like his face reveal, right? So, here's that clip.
All right, guys, let's listen to this clip from Campea.
Question, Steph C. writes, without any spoilers, do they explain in the script of Doomsday why Doctor Doom looks like Tony Stark? They do not, nor should they. And that answer will come in Secret Wars.
Now, that's interesting. So there's 2 ways to look at that, right?
So yes, obviously also two, and I also posted that with like the bits of the Screen Crush team, right? So they're very interesting folks. Go check them out. Obviously, John Campia, Screen Crush, and New Rockstars. They all make content preparing for Doomsday. So go check that out. Obviously,
The way I took it was they don't address it because they just cast Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom because he's perfect for the role. And I want to know what you guys think about that. Let us know, like in the comments and everything. But Colton, what's your take on what he said?
I do not think that they just cast. When you say that they just cast him because he's perfect for the role, you mean like has nothing to do with the fact that he played Tony Stark?
Well, because the way I took it to mean, I'm not saying I think this is right. The way I took it to mean is they wanted that nostalgia of Robert Downey Jr. returning.
Okay. The way I took what he said, and like I know some people are kind of running with it as, oh, well, this, if they don't address it, then that's because there's nothing to address. We have to remember he did say, I don't know if we showed it in that clip there, that it will be addressed in Secret Wars, right? I think we did play that part. I think that's because in the movie, and we talked about this on a previous stream, they're not going to show his face until the very end. So he's going to be under the mask the entire time. They're not going to know what he looks like under there. Perhaps Reed and Sue do, but they have no like, oh guys, by the way, he's Tony Stark, and they don't know that in that universe he looks like that. So I think the reason
that he's from their universe, that he's from.
Obviously, a couple of leaks and rumors also have said that Common Domingo is going to play Kang after these two films, obviously to reprise Kang and return him to the universe, because obviously Jonathan Majors was arrested, but Common Domingo is a great actor, and I could see him as a Kang, like a much more, I would say, stoic Kang than the Jonathan Major ones. Obviously, the perfect Marvel order to watch before Avengers Doomsday, and projects you need to watch before this film will release are interesting. Obviously, we're going to begin with Iron Man 1. Go watch Iron Man 1, it's great. Obviously, I would say Captain America, the first Avenger, is also doable. Doctor Strange films, obviously the Doctor Strange 1 film and Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, especially the second one, that's a very important one. Obviously, Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. The Loki series, like Loki Season 1 and Loki Season 2. Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings obviously introduces Shang-Chi as obviously Simu Liu as Shang-Chi. Obviously Spider-Man No Way Home, it's also necessary to understand the multiverse, right? Obviously Black Panther Wakanda Forever is also necessary to watch and to understand the dynamics between the Wakandians and also the Talokan, or aka the Atlanteans, right? We obviously also have Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. Although not a great film, it's still interesting to see Kang in there, and obviously despite mixed reviews, it's an exploration of quantum physics and an alternative dimension adds important to context to the MCU's multiversal framework, right? So obviously also watch WandaVision. It's also interesting to see this reality manipulation and obviously White Vision storyline. I'm not quite sure if White Vision is going to appear in Doomsday, but obviously he'll get his own series to understand that character. Go watch Deadpool and Wolverine, very necessary film to understand the TVA and obviously the Fox Universe characters. And obviously the post-credit scene for the Marvels film is also necessary to watch and to understand that Beast meets Monica Rambeau, right? Obviously go watch Captain America Brave New World 2. Sam Wilson's journey as a new Captain America reaches maturity in Brave New World, establishing his leadership credentials ahead of Avengers Doomsday, right? Also go watch Thunderbolts. It's also really necessary to understand the new Avengers, or I guess the Dark Avengers, and their team of many characters like Florence Pugh and Sebastian Stan and obviously Wyatt Russell. And obviously go watch Fantastic Four First Steps. It's a great film, I love that film. And in the post-credit scene we also see Doctor Doom in there, so it's a neat little, I guess, origin story for that team. Obviously, how will these characters be able to converse or talk to each other is with the teams, right? Like we've seen in the teasers, right? We've seen that the Fantastic Four and the Wakandians will team up. We also saw in the Thunderbolts post-credit scene that the Fantastic Four will probably also talk to the Fantastic Four, like the Fantastic Four and the Thunderbolts will also probably be a group at some point in this movie too. Obviously the X-Men and the new Avengers, or the Avengers led by Sam Wilson, right? We have the Avengers led by Sam Wilson and the Avengers led by Yelena Belova. So I'm not quite sure how that is going to be talked about. Obviously, Doctor Strange could also be in this film, and same goes for Spider-Man. But obviously, Spider-Man will get his own brand new film. Obviously, Spider-Man Brand New Day, and we'll get a series, Wonder Man, coming up in January or February. I'm really excited to see that too. So, how will this all connect? I'm not quite sure. You know, Doctor Doom might be able to rip Thanos's spine out of his back. Maybe that will be the first opening scene. That could be really cool, and to set up the eventual threat that Doctor Doom might be. Obviously, Doctor Doom can also kill all the King variants, right? Obviously, he will maybe eliminate them all and exterminate them all. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, where is Star-Lord in this entire story? Because the legendary Star-Lord will return, and he's my favorite character. So I'm wondering, you know, when will he appear in this film? And the biggest question that I want to see in this film is Magneto going to reveal to his daughter and son, or at least his daughter, that he is her real father. So obviously Wanda Maximoff as being the daughter of Magneto, or maybe, you know, Wanda will be able to tell the magical words of no more mutants, but instead of no more mutants, she will say more mutants or something like that. So that would be really cool. Obviously, Tom Cruise could be the invincible Iron Man in this film, or Secret Wars. I'm not quite sure. Obviously, people have been leaking and speculating that for years now. Or Kieran Culkin. People also say that he might be in the running for a new Iron Man. We're not quite sure. I have no idea what's going on with this film. I'm really excited to see where it will go. But obviously, for the time being, I'm just a fan. I can talk about whatever I would like. But, you know, when the time comes and the film releases, I'm going to be very excited and very thrilled to see where the Avengers might go. Obviously, trailers and teasers and other things will be released the coming year. But yeah, we just need to wait and see for those things. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will check you later. Goodbye, everyone. Or should I say, Avengers, assemble.